Good morning. We're going to get started this morning with an invocation led by Pastor Jeremy Jordan of Cross Timbers Church, and that will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Aurora Gilbert, representing Girl Scout Troop 7306. Please stand as you are able.
Would you pray with me? Heavenly Father, this morning we are grateful for another day, grateful for your mercy and your grace. Grateful too, Lord, for this city, this great city. We're grateful for Mayor Holt and these councilmen and councilwomen. We're grateful that you have allowed them to be in this place of leadership and influence. Lord, today we pray for wisdom for these men and women. As they govern, may they do it in a way that reflects your standards of truth, of righteousness, of justice, of your deep mercy and your compassion. I pray, Lord, that they would be quick to listen and slow to speak, just and merciful in all they do. Lord, I pray that you would guide this group through the presence and power of your Spirit to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with their God. And in this time of political division, I pray, Lord, that you would unite this group in a way that glorifies you and benefits each and every constituent of this city. I pray, Lord, that you would give them a Spirit-empowered ability to be both bold and humble, just and gracious, right and kind. May each of us now, God, look to you, the truth of your word, the guidance of your Spirit, and find forgiveness in Jesus. Lord, guide this group today. Lead them to right decisions in all that they do, and may they reflect and glorify you. We pray this in the name of my Savior, Jesus. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Jordan, and thank you, Aurora. I call this meeting of the City Council to order, and we have about 3 presentations from the Office of the Mayor, and I will make my way to the front for those. Why don't we have our friends here for Fair Housing Month come forward? We have great friends from the come on up here, yeah, from the realtors of OKC, who are, as we know, regular visitors here at City Hall, for which we are grateful. And today, though, we are recognizing Fair Housing Month, which is next month. And to hear a little bit more about that, I'd ask the clerk to read this proclamation.
Whereas the Fair Housing Act, enacted on April 11, 1968, is a federal law dedicated to eliminating racial segregation and housing discrimination in the United States. And whereas this legislation prohibits discrimination in the sale, rental, and financing of housing based on race, color, religion, sex, national origin, familial status, or disability. And whereas the City of Oklahoma City is committed to upholding the Fair Housing Act's mission, ensuring that all individuals have access to fair and equal housing opportunities. And whereas the City of Oklahoma City actively supports and fosters diverse housing solutions that meet community needs with a focus on those most in need of stable housing. And whereas the strength of Oklahoma City's social fabric, economy, public health, and environment is strengthened by diversity and inclusivity, Now therefore, I, David Holt, Mayor of the City of Oklahoma City, do hereby proclaim April 2025 to be Fair Housing Month in Oklahoma City.
Thank you. Well, to hear a little bit more about that, we have Vanessa Johnson here from the Realtors. Oh yeah, you can keep that, please. Go ahead.
I didn't know.
You're the current president, right? Yes. So we'd love to hear a few words.
Well, first off, we would like to thank the mayor, you, and we would also like to thank the city council members. Thank you so much for having us, Oklahoma City Metropolitan Association of Realtors. It is a very important month for us as we kick off fair housing. We believe housing is an opportunity that should be had for all. It's a human right, and we truly appreciate being in this building with you and your efforts.
Thank you. All right, let's hear it for our Realtors. Thank you, Vanessa. All right. Yes, you may go. Wherever you like. All right. Let's bring up our folks from OKC Beautiful to commemorate, or I should say, draw attention to Litter Blitz. This is an annual tradition to welcome Earth and Mother Earth, I guess. All right, to hear a little bit more, be reminded of the great work of Litter Blitz, I'd ask the clerk to read this proclamation.
Whereas litter is a citywide issue and addressing it not only improves the beauty of our community, it also fosters our economic vitality. And whereas litter abatement programs lower taxpayer costs and create more attractive community spaces and roadways. And whereas Oklahoma City Beautiful is working in partnership with the City of Oklahoma City to present Litter Blitz 2025. And whereas Litter Blitz is a community effort to beautify Oklahoma City by picking up litter from neighborhoods, roadsides, schools, and parks. And whereas individuals and groups will be given free Litter Blitz supply kits, including trash bags, gloves, hand sanitizer, and tips for a successful cleanup. And whereas more than 4,000 volunteers participated in Litter Blitz 2024, collecting over 70,000 pounds of litter from community spaces across our city. Now therefore, I, David Holt, Mayor of the City of Oklahoma City, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Litter Blitz 2025 in Oklahoma City and encourage all residents to help combat litter in their parks, schools, neighborhoods, and other locations throughout our community.
Thank you. Well, Litter Blitz has been done for decades and obviously managed by Oklahoma City Beautiful. And if you don't think it makes a difference, think about what our city would be like with 70,000 pounds of litter, which is what was taken out of our city last year. So that's what's about to happen. Hopefully we can top that this year. And it requires you, though, and that's why we're drawing attention to it. People can sign up online. I think you're going to hear a little bit more about that in a moment. And for that explanation, I'm going to turn it over to Lauren, who was described to me earlier this morning as the litter queen of Oklahoma City. I don't know how she really feels about that, but I'm glad somebody has that title. She likes it. Good. Well, we need a litter queen, and we're glad that you have that position, Lauren. We'd love to hear a few words from you.
Thank you guys so much for having us, and for people who have participated in our Litter Blitz program before. If you haven't, it is a great time and it's a great opportunity to get involved with your community. So the way that Litter Blitz works is you create a group. It can be loved ones, coworkers, friends, and register on our website, okcbeautiful.com, and we will provide free gloves, trash bags, and other supplies that you need for litter cleanups. And litter not only impacts our environment, but also our city economics and our city aesthetics. So we want to make sure that we keep our city beautiful. And to kick off our Litter Blitz month in April, on April 5th, we're going to be having a Tackle the Trails event. So we have segmented out all 100 plus miles of our trail system, and we have volunteer groups going to each segment to help clean up the whole trail system. So if you guys are interested, then you can check that out on our website and be sure to sign up for Litter Blitz.
Thank you. Now, we're very proud of our 100 miles of trails, and but we got to keep them clean. And by the way, do you mind introducing who all we're joined by here today?
Yes, absolutely. We have Mother Earth with us right here. Going down the line, we've got Natalie Evans. one of our teammates, one of our team members at OKC Beautiful. We've got our longstanding mascot, Terrence. His full government name is Terrence D. Earth. And then we have Jared Irby with Keep America Beautiful.
Excellent.
And I will add, our Mother Earth has been with us since the 90s, so we're very happy to have her here.
All right, let's thank everybody from Oklahoma City Beautiful. Okay, Sherry, come on down. Sherry Westbrook. Sherry is our Employee of the Month, and we'd like to learn a little bit more about you, and so I would ask the clerk to read this resolution.
Whereas Sherry Westbrook has served as a city employee for 42 years and is an office administrator in the Public Works Department. And whereas Sherry manages purchasing requests, vendor pay claims, and budget tracking for traffic operations while leading office support staff and assisting residents with traffic concerns. And whereas Sherry demonstrates attention to detail and commitment to financial stewardship, ensuring accuracy and efficiency in financial processes, including the review and processing of substantial pay claims for OG&E streetlight repairs. And whereas in late 2024, Sherry discovered information that allowed the city to seek reimbursement for a damaged streetlight, recovering more than $11,000 that would have otherwise been a loss for the city. And whereas Sherry has shown professionalism, dedication, financial stewardship, and steady leadership, making a lasting impact benefiting colleagues, residents, and the entire community. And whereas this council wishes to recognize and commend Sherry Westbrook for her outstanding service and contributions to the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the city of Oklahoma City that they do hereby thank and commend Sherry Westbrook, March 2025 South Oklahoma City Kiwanis Club Employee of the Month.
Well, thank you. Wow, Sherry, 42 years. That's amazing. Yeah. That was part of the program since discontinued where we took babies and made them city employees, right? I think that was, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, happy 42nd birthday. This is a resolution, so we need to pass this. But I think it's going to go well for you. But we do need to get a motion and a second. All right, cast your votes. I wish to vote aye. Passes unanimously. Well, we're so grateful for your service, and we would love to hear a few words from you, if you don't mind.
Okay, it's an honor to be able to help the city recover funds, but it's a blessing and a pleasure to be a part of the city for 42 years and 5 months. I want to count it all. Amen. I will be retiring April 3rd, but I really appreciate this, and I love the city, or I wouldn't have been here as long as I am. And I like public works. I've been in public works the whole time that I've been with the city, the whole 42 years. My first few months were in management and budget, and then I got hired on in public works, and I've been there ever since. Thank you so much to the mayor and the city.
Wow. Thank you. Congratulations on your retirement. Yeah. Hey, you're getting a standing O here. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you. All right, that concludes Office of the Mayor, which brings us to items from council. There are none today, which brings us to the City Manager reports. Item 5, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. We've got a couple of items on today for quick presentations. First up, Brent Bryan, Assistant City Manager and Chief Financial Officer, is going to give us an update on the construction financing for the new arena.
City Manager's Office. I wanted to just go over a background on where we are with the arena. In December of 23, the voters approved the 72-month 1 penny cent sales tax. March of last year, about a year ago, this board approved the issuance of about $950 million bonds to fund the new arena. And then Last November, we issued an RFP to seek a financing team to help us facilitate the development of the facility. As we all know, the tax is not going into effect until April 1st, 2028, so borrowing money ahead of time would be necessary to facilitate the building being open by 28 for the 28-29 season. On January 14th, we received 16 proposals in response to the RFP. Subsequent to that, our financial advisor, PFM, did a very detailed review of all 16 proposals. And as a result, we actually did in-person interviews with 4 of them with our financing team. And then after evaluating them, one of our key things is we're looking at a way where we can move to the market quickly. As you know, the market moves pretty quickly. We sold bonds today, and I'll be back to you later to talk to you about that for our GO bonds this year, where we sold $160 million this morning. So after that, as a result of our review, the recommendation is to go with Goldman Sachs as our senior manager, and Morgan Stanley and Bank of Oklahoma Financial Securities also be the co-managers. But the bulk of it will be through Goldman Sachs. Our goal right now is to get with our financing team and our underwriters to get all of our documents in order so we can move quickly, because there's a changing environment right now as it relates to tax-exempt bonds, and so we're trying to do everything where we can move to the market quickly. And so the plan is to put those documents in escrow, and then when our financial advisors and our bond counsel all deem that it's the appropriate time, we will want to move quickly to get the most efficient financing as possible. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Brent. I really appreciate your leadership in this and the team working on this diligently to make sure that we do the best that we can for our residents as we work on the financing for this great project. Thank you. Next up, we have the quarterly Riverport Foundation report is here in your packets. Mike Knopp is here with us today, and Mike may just give us a couple of updates on some big events we've got coming up, but then also to introduce a new team member to the Riverport Foundation.
Thank you. Mike Knopp here, founder of Riverport. We have a big week this week. This is really, as I see, our kickoff for the next 3.5 years of a build-up towards something spectacular for Oklahoma City. It starts off this week with the World Ranking event with the International Canoe Federation. We have 10 countries participating. They're in Oklahoma City now with athletes training on our Riverport Rapids. So it all kicks off on Friday. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we will have competitions going on all 3 days, including whitewater slalom and kayak cross. I won't go into all the details regarding the explanation of the sports, but I will just say kayak cross is a new discipline that debuted in Paris. The mayor and I watched that event, and it is a spectacular show when you come and watch that. And that is something that we're going to be continuing to host here, because this event is a prelude to the World Championship that will happen next year, which will bring 60 countries to Oklahoma City, which is then a prelude to what we hope will be 2028 with LA 28. So very exciting. That's pending LA City Council approval, but we are moving forward in that direction. So we're very excited. We hope that you can come and join us and check it out. And that really leads me to my focus is going to be on the next 3.5 years with all that goes into hosting what we hope will be an Olympic Games, but also a World Championship and all the legacy-related elements surrounding that. So I'm sliding into my role as a founder to focus on those efforts and bringing in Chris Sorensen. So Chris, if you want to come on up. Chris is going to be taking on the role as executive director, focusing on the operations of Riverport, while I focus on taking us down this journey for the next 3.5 years. So I'm thrilled to have Chris here, and Chris comes from the ski industry, and I'll let him say a few words. So.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Good morning, Council and Mayor. Chris Sorensen, originally from Oklahoma City, so it feels really good to be back in Oklahoma City after spending 20 years in the ski industry. And gosh, so much has changed in the city while I was gone. And so really exciting things and excited to be a part of it. And like Mike said, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, come out and check out the event. I got to watch a little training yesterday. These athletes are just crazy impressive. We've got one of the athletes that's a 4-time Olympian that's out there training on the course here in Oklahoma City right now. So yeah, very nice to meet everyone and look forward to working with all of you in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Welcome. Next is the sales tax report. And on the sales tax report, we had talked about this before. Russell actually, when he gave his presentation at the budget workshop, really referenced back to these numbers. Basically, the March sales tax check is 3%, almost 3% growth. Overall, we're at about 0.5% down for the year. We had projected about 2% growth. So sales and use tax combined is still $8.5 million below projections. We're in a good position financially to make it through this fiscal year, but it does set us up for a challenging budget going into next year. We'll continue to monitor this and keep the council updated. And that's all that I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Item 6 is Journal of Council Proceedings. We have items A and B we can take with one motion. Got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item 7 is request for uncontested continuances. Item 11A is going to be continued or deferred until April 22nd. Is there anything else, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, we have several items beginning on page 10. Item 11G1, unsecured structures. All of these items are stricken from the agenda. Item I, 1621 Northeast 18th Street, the owner is secured. Item L, 1714 Northwest 30th Street, the owner is secured. Item M, 321 Southwest 40th Street, the owner is secured. Item O, 1577 Southwest 44th Street, the owner is secured. Item P, 303 Southeast 60th Street, the owner is secured. Item Q, 2640 Southwest 65th Street, the owner is secured. And then item R, 2624 Northwest 68th Street, the owner has secured. Continuing on to on page 10 on item 11H1, abandoned buildings. These are all stricken from the agenda for the same reasons they were stricken in the unsecured. Item I, 321 Southwest 40th, and item K, 1577 Southwest 44th Street. And that's all the items that I have.
All right. Next up, item 8, revocable permits and events. Item 8A is revocable right-of-way use permit with Downtown OKC Partnership to hold Midtown Walkabout on April 12th. And we have Jakey Dobbs here to say a few words.
Good morning. My name is Jakey Dobbs. I'm the Midtown District Manager for Downtown OKC Partnership. And on behalf of our organization, I'd love to talk to you about Midtown Walkabout. We're celebrating 10 years of this event, actually, this April 12th on the Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And essentially, it's a district-wide celebration of all of our local businesses. We're having a vendor market, hopefully on Walker Avenue with a closed street, that'll allow us to bring in over 50 vendors of local businesses and makers. And we have a lot of free, family-friendly programming, live music, and just a way to celebrate our district and get people out to explore.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hammond?
Well, congratulations on 10 years. I'm happy to move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously.
Great, thank you.
Item B is a revocable right-of-way use permit with the FMD Association to hold the Farmers Market District Spring Festival on April 5th. And we have Frances Smith here to speak.
Hello, Council. Thank you so much for having us today. We are excited to talk about our next festival, which is going to be Spring Fest on April 5th. We're doing it from noon to 5. We'll also have that in tandem with our farmers market this time, so we're going to try to play with that a little bit. Our antique mall will be in full force as well. We've got about 100 vendors, including the market vendors as well. We have some nonprofits, some informational booths, and quite a few service providers this time. So this is definitely a family-friendly event. We have an entire area dedicated for the kids. That's going to include a craft area, some educational tutorials about how seeds grow that we're going to be doing. It'll also have bounce house and face painting and characters and all that good stuff. We're closing down the street, kind of the epicenter of our district will be closed. We'll have food trucks, 3 bands. We're super excited to do this. We did 2 last year. We're going to do 3 this year. So we're just growing and growing in our district. We're super excited.
All right,
Do you have any questions for me?
Councilwoman Hammond?
Well, it sounds like a really lovely time, and I'll wish for good weather for all of us. And I'll happy to move for approval.
Thank you, Ms. Hammond.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Okay, item 8C is a revocable right-of-way use permit with the Britton District to hold Britton District Day this Saturday. Obviously, this also commemorates the official opening of our streetscape there, which is a very exciting event later this week. I don't know that we have anyone signed up to speak, but I see someone lurking, so I think perhaps that you would like to say a few words. Please introduce yourself and your
David
address.
Wood, Chair of the Britton District Board. Just super excited to finally be done with the street improvement projects, and thankful and looking forward to great things for the district. Thursday, ribbon cutting with the mayor, and then Saturday, closure between Ollie and Francis of Britton Road, and gonna have a great day.
Awesome. Well, this is Councilman Cooper.
I think we're 2 on one side and 7 on the other, so.
I'm excited certainly about the opening of and accessibility and everything that's happening with Britton. So we're excited about what's happening in the district and looking forward to the ribbon cutting ceremony as well as all of the improvements and what that looks like for those who pass through on a weekly basis.
Yeah. I too have excitement about this, and it'll be 11 a.m. on Thursdays, the ribbon cutting, is that right?
Yes.
Or, did I
Yes,
say Thursday?
On Thursday, yes.
Thursday, 11 a.m.
The event is noon to 5 on Saturday as well.
Okay, so you have 2 opportunities to celebrate this achievement, and I can tell you I was thrilled last week to ride the Deep Fork Trail from Paseo up to Classen and 63rd, and I could just see straight up ahead Britton District, and just by bike, so this is cool.
It looks great, and we're super thankful for it.
That's great. Well, congratulations. We'll move for approval. Cooper? 2 Coopers? Tell 2 Coopers.
Got a motion and a second. Let's cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Okay, now we'll recess council and convene as the Oklahoma City Municipal Facilities Authority, where we have items A through E we could take with one motion. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Now we'll adjourn OCMFA and convene as the Oklahoma City Public Property Authority, where we have items A through D we could take with one motion. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. We'll adjourn OCPPA and reconvene as the council. We are on item 9, the consent docket. We have a scheduled presentation for item Z, and that's it. We do have quite a few residents signed up for item O, so I'm sure we'll touch base there for a few minutes. Is there anything else that a council member wishes to address?
Yeah, I think there are several people here. I'd like to pull it for individual consideration. Item 9AV, please.
Okay, yes, we have a couple people signed up for that as well.
I also think we have several people here to speak for, I think, O as well, so.
For O? Is that what you said, Councilman? Oh, yeah, we'll get that for sure. Councilman Stoneslaver, are you going to want a separate vote, you suspect, on item AV?
That possibility exists.
Okay, all right.
Healthy discussion.
Okay. All right, is there anything else? All right, we'll take them in order then, which means we'll start with O. And there's a large number of folks here. I'll observe, so a planning application under state law ultimately has to be heard and considered. And normally people show up at the hearing portion, which is after the introduction. Today for item O is introduction. Obviously, as you see here, final hearing is in 2 meetings on April 22nd. In my 7 years here, we've probably had 5 people show up at this stage total, and sometimes we try to talk them out of it, tell them to come back for the hearing. When we really hold the hearing, we vote on the item. But there are so many people today signed up for this, I don't think we can talk them all out of speaking. So we're just going to do it. I will introduce you. I will then introduce the next person, so you know to get ready, maybe even move down to the front row so you're ready to go. Please say your name and address. Keep your remarks to 3 minutes or less. Recognize that if earlier people have said the very same thing that you're going to say, there is some diminishing returns on repeating the same thing over and over again, but ultimately it's your 3 minutes. I'll start with Xenophon Warrior Jr. That will be followed by Antonio de la Vega.
Yes, good morning. Xenophon Warrior. I live at 5712 North Lottie Avenue. This particular rezoning application is getting ready to come up for your vote later on next month. It's kind of going a usual route. I've had an opportunity to attend quite a few planning commission meetings over the years, ones I can attend over the last 10 years or so. And usually when you have a zoning application done, usually it's taking a AA and it's being rezoned for some type of planned unit development. This particular case, this particular piece of property has already been zoned as PUD, and the particular applicant is wanting to go back to a AA zoning for the particular area. So far as and this has been some things we've gone with this particular property over the last 10 years. They have with that. This is a special piece of property, I think, within our central core of our particular city. It's only 5 minutes away here from this particular building for a particular area for that. It has been basically undeveloped forever. The last 100 years, basically nothing has been done to the particular property. And this particular zoning application means that whatever is going to be decided at this particular time is probably something that's going to be with the property for the next 100 years before all of us are gone. Particular property have with that. I do live. The property borders my particular neighborhood, Cashins Wildwood. The property is on the eastern side of Kelly Avenue, and my particular property is on the east side. The property is on the west side of the particular property. This is a section line. Kelly Avenue has been something that's been developed over the last 10 years or so with various types of street improvements. It's a good access road for people coming back and forth from the Edmond, from the north up into Oklahoma City area. There's been quite a bit of work done on widening the streets, particular area, to 4 lanes. Currently, right now, there's a 4-lane straight shot up to Edmond from 63rd up to straight up to the north to a Memorial Road half-width area. There was some discussion about this section of road where this big property is at 50th and Kelly, and from Kelly over to Lincoln Boulevard, that particular street was going to be a 4-lane road.
30 seconds remaining.
Been quite a bit of controversy concerning with that, but it was decided that it would just be a 2-lane road with this area. The area is very unique in that you do have a region that's just there to the east of it, the Adventure District. This Deep Fork Trail, which is something that's being discussed with the particular area, will lead right into the Deep Fork Trail that begins on on the northeast Grand Boulevard, and then this particular part of that particular Deep Fork Trail has been completed, and then it was going to go ahead and be matched up with the trail possibly going through the Deep Fork area with that.
Thank you.
Have that.
Mayor.
But hope you consider that.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi.
One thing I just want to mention is I would hope that you all, as you look at this piece of property, that you do take some time, if you haven't already, to look at the Metropolitan Tree Canopy Study, because it's a special region for this. So this is something I think really needs to take into consideration overall with the Deep Fork Trail and the various wonderful improvements that the applicant is going to make on the property.
Thank you. Councilman Cooper.
Strange request, arguably, but if we're about to have, and I'm so sorry, if we're about to have several people speak on this case, could we just very briefly, I know in our packet, I can already see Councilman Stone, for instance, can people see what area we're talking about? And then we don't have to go into any of the details yet, just can we at least see this area? Because I think there's some people here who have no idea what we're talking about. There's probably people at home don't know where or what we're talking about. Just a brief, just to see this PUD, and I have nothing more to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
So while that's being attempted, next up is Antonio de la Vega, followed by Catherine Dooley.
Tony De La Vega, 2901 Ashton Court, Edmond. Good morning. I'm here to speak on behalf of runners and dog walkers in particular, one dog walker in particular. This past Saturday, a friend of mine, BJ Kirshen, and I ran from the west end of the Deep Fork Trail to the east end of the Deep Fork Trail. BJ and I are training for the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon. The Deep Fork Trail is designed to be 3 miles one way, 6 miles out and back. All the signs on the trail right now that are there actually says that. Because of the missing section, we had to run on busy roads on Northeast 50th Street and Kelly Avenue to get from Lincoln Central Park Apartments to the Wildwood neighborhood. We ran on 2 miles of hilly, dangerous, and busy roads to get from one finished section to the other. We were forced, this was at 6:30 in the morning, we were forced to jump from the curbs into the grass several times to avoid getting hit by cars. There are no sidewalks in this area, and the hills are steep, making it difficult for cars to see pedestrians on the road. Our run turned out to be a total of 9 miles, 3 miles longer because of the missing sections, 4 miles total on busy roads. Pedestrians, runners, dog walkers, and stroller pushers deserve to have a safe venue to get from Western Avenue to Kelly Avenue. We would have a healthier and safer community, so let's make sure to finish Deep Fork Trail. Thank you.
Can I ask you, I'm sorry, where did you run? Can you point to us up there where you and your friend were running on the street?
So the central apartments are on the left-hand side. We came out of Oklahoma Boulevard into 50th Street, crossed Lincoln Boulevard all the way to Kelly. We almost got run over by a white truck right here on 50th Street, turned left on Kelly. We almost got run over by a Camry, and then went all the way to where the trails restarted again on the west side.
Thank you for walking us through that, because I think sometimes these things can come across as quite abstract. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Catherine Dooley, followed by Kevin Farmer.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Dooley. I live at 419 Northwest 14th Street. I'm urging the council to go with the original plan for this PUD, which was in place when the Kirkpatrick Foundation bought this property to create this nature preserve. The nature preserve is going to be a great thing, and I want everyone to be able to enjoy it. I'm pointed out that it's already been pointed out that we have only a short section of this trail to complete. To continue to develop these maps, trails that have contributed so much to our city. So I hope that it can be arranged that we continue with the original plan, which was developed to complete before 2021, but it was interrupted by the pandemic. So let's continue on and have that trail on the south side of the river. We can have connection. We can have a lot of our populace able to have active transportation in this part of our city. Thank you.
Kevin Farmer, followed by C.K. Panter.
Good morning, council members. My name's Kevin Farmer. I live at 316 Donner Trail in Edmond. I am president of the Oklahoma Bicycle Society. I represent over 350 members across the whole metropolitan area. Many are who in your wards. I'm sure some of you have already heard from them about this issue. We deeply are concerned about any change in the current plan. And relating somewhat to what has previously been said, it's about safety. It's actually much bigger than just the Deep Fork Trail itself. This completes a circular city loop of the system. When this is finished, it will be one of the finest in the whole country. And we are at the 11 o'clock hour. We have everything but just this little section up here left to do. And the consequences of not completing this as designed is you have two choices. You have to go down on 50th Street there, or you go up earlier and you cross 63rd Street across 235. Now, I don't know how many of you want to ride a bike across 63rd Street on 235. I've been hit by a car before. People want this because they want to stay off the streets, and this allows all kinds of people to do this. So this is critical for safety. And many people don't want to stay on the streets, and this will draw a lot of people to our city to do these things, just like river sports and everything else does. We do know that the trail consultants have been asked to look at alternatives to this. That report has not been completed. So any decision on this can't really be done until we know what any potential alternatives are, where we're going to go, because right now those are unacceptable alternatives outside of what the original plan is. So this section has been designed for a long time. It's been funded. If the city has to go around this area, it will cost additionally millions of dollars to what has already been spent. And why should they have to do that? The plan is in place, the funding is in place, it needs to be completed, it's done. So what we're simply asking is that this decision be deferred until we have more information to make an informed decision. Thank you.
CK, followed by Bill Elias.
Mayor and Council, thank you for your time. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Bluff Creek, or the Deep Fork Trail, excuse me. As an avid cyclist in the city, I ride the entire city loop. I ride on 63rd Street, which is not a lot of fun. As the previous speaker mentioned, you run the risk of running into contention with vehicles. This Deep Fork Trail has been designed, engineered, funded, and has been in place, and a plan has been ready to go. It's a 5-phase development. 3 of the 5 phases are complete. 1 of the phases is halfway complete. This is the final section. The purchasers of this property purchased this property knowing that it was subject to this PUD. What we're asking and what we would like to see is the City Council use the wisdom to continue this trail as planned. It's not in contradiction to the proposed use of the Red River Nature Preserve. The two can coexist mutually. What we would like to see is that this be a part of their proposed downshift to a AA zoning, but this requirement remain on their property. What they propose is to push the trail to the north side of Bluff Creek. By doing that, that puts it on ODOT property, which is a nightmare. It also puts it in an area where there is a 20-foot elevation change in height in 80 feet. That requires a significant amount of subadjacent support. Construction costs in that are ridiculous. So where is that going to come from? Why would the city need to bear that cost? We already have a good plan. Let's carry that plan to fruition. Work with the Red River Nature Preserve. And all of these groups are willing to meet with them and come to a reasonable resolution. If the concern is that they
30
have the
seconds
ability
remaining.
to shut that off from the trail, they can put gates up so the access from the trail to the nature preserve is restricted. But we ask you to please take these things into consideration. Slow the roll on this project, and let's do the right thing for the city of Oklahoma City. Thank you.
Something was just raised that is so foundational to this. May I ask, because I hate misinformation just going on for another half hour. Jeff Butler, would you mind coming to the microphone? I know we're going to get into this more, but this is so foundational.
Sure.
The existing PUD, does it require the property owner to have this trail?
It has some language in there. I'll read it. The existing PUD says, the developer will work with the City of Oklahoma City on the coordination of the trail construction planned along the northern boundary of this PUD. So it's kind of general language. It's not something that is, it would be difficult to legally require them to give us an easement or give us a right-of-way based on that language. It's more of a coordinating language.
We never had ownership or even easement or any contractual relationship with the existing property owner.
Correct.
And so in the PUD that is currently in the current PUD, it has this language, but I agree with you. I mean, that's like, I don't know how to enforce, they will work with us to, I don't know what that, it's legally meaningless.
Exactly. It's more of a statement of intent.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's continue on and then we'll get more into that. But I think that's like, someone referenced that as a requirement. It is clearly not a requirement in the eyes of the law. We have Bill Elias, who will be followed by Graham Harris.
Yes, Bill Elias, 23 at Powderhorn in Edmond. I've been a cyclist in Oklahoma City for 35 years. I'm a member of OBS. I don't want to rehash. I had some of the same questions the mayor had. I don't know what's going on here, but I know that we've got 100 miles of trails in this city, and all of a sudden, this PUD has come up with proposed revised language that omits any mention of the Deep Fork Trail. I want to see both of these things happen. These are both great attributes for the city, having this conservancy and the bike trail, finishing the bike trail. And these are not mutually exclusive activities. Cycling and jogging are, these people are all for the conservancy that is proposed here. So I would just urge the council to do whatever it takes. If it's table this and get the language together, get the parties together. My understanding is the funding's in place, the plans are there or can be finalized. And work closely with the Kirkpatrick Foundation to construct it in a manner that, is compatible with their uses. Anyway, I don't want to reiterate and take time, but that's what I see here. This is a win-win situation for the city of Oklahoma City, and that's what I would urge you to do, is come up with a way to make both of these things happen. Thank you.
Mayor, as the next speaker is coming up, I just want the whole council and people to know that I spent all Thursday afternoon learning about this project, and because of that, I have already invited our parks director to come up here in a bit after you all speak, because I want you all to speak first. We all want you all to speak first. But there will be a history, and to your earlier point, Mayor, a history, and to kind of walk us through how we got here, what the existing problem is, and talk about, to the last speaker's point, the possible solutions going forward. So I just want you to know that's coming.
Got it. Graham Harris, followed by Russell Pace.
Good morning, Council. I'm actually going to cede my time because all my friends have already said everything I want to say. Thank you.
Love it. You're my favorite speaker. Russell Pace, followed by Tom Tripp.
So does that mean I get 6 minutes?
No.
It's been an honor working with the city. Most of you I've had meetings with along the development of the trail system. Councilman Stone, we dedicated the trail at Draper along with Mayor Holt. It was an amazing day. This is simply a land grab by the foundation. This is one man's attempt to stop the jail from going on the property. This is not a requirement, but an obligation by the purchaser of the land to allow the trail. Normally, I don't speak in those terms. Normally, I try and be a lot more politically correct, but this is simply a land grab, and they're afraid of the homeless people being on their property. That's all it amounts to. Fortunately, no longer being a part of the city, the MAPS 4 Oversight Committee, it does give me a little opportunity to speak the truth to the council. As a commercial land broker for my entire life, or the last 20 years, I would never allow a client to buy a property with an easement, not an easement, but a suggestion of an easement without it being removed. The other thing about the PUD that you may not realize, and I didn't realize, is that it requires no sidewalks to be built. 1670 does require that. It does require sidewalks to be built along the perimeter. I was told by Johnson & Associates at the Planning Commission that they have no intention of providing those sidewalks because their development doesn't approach the perimeter. It's a mistake. We've paid for it. I have 17 reasons why it shouldn't go through, but emotionally, this is defeating what the City Council has approved with PUD 1670 and paid for. So I ask very seriously that you reject this. Thank you for your time.
Tom Tripp, followed by Hal McKnight.
Tom Tripp. I live adjacent to this, 4900 North Willard, and that's 50th Street. And it's a little bit of a tricky intersection. It tees into 50th, and as somebody said, that they had a problem along 50th, running and walking. So to push people around on 50th is a bad idea. And that's all I'm here to say. I'm not going to take up any more of your time because it'll just repeat what has already been said. So
Sound good. Thank you. Hal McKnight, followed by Mandy Moore.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council. My name is Hal McKnight. I live at 7200 ML King. I've had the honor to serve on our city's Trail Advisory Committee, Better Streets, Safer City Committee, and the MAPS 3 Subcommittee for Trails and Sidewalks. In 1985, our city hired a consultant, a guy named Charles Flink out of North Carolina, a company called Greenways, to develop a master plan. We have been following that master plan quite successfully, and this master plan that was also then reaffirmed by Bike Walk OKC to go across this 133 acres on the north side. It's a very important trail connector that connects the trails, the Hefner Trail, Burt Cooper Trails to the west, and the Katy Trail to the east. The Deep Fork Trail is 60% complete. Phase 2 crosses the very north part of this property that's owned by the Kirkpatrick Foundation. For over a year, our city has diligently tried to find a way to get this easement. It's a 12-foot wide permanent easement to go across the north part of this property. Unfortunately, the Kirkpatrick Foundation has not agreed to this. And in their current PUD, there is no mention of this easement or this trail. If you have to go on the north side of this river, there may be enough room, but it's going to be an expensive thing to do because if you've got several river crossings already that this city has invested a lot of money in. Also for history, on September 1st, 2019, this council approved a transfer of money, an overage from Better Streets, Safer Cities to complete this trail. So the council has historically supported completing this Deep Fork Trail. It's truly the missing link of our 100 miles of multi-use trail that we have. The Oklahoma City Trail Advisory Committee has been working on our trails for many, many years with the help of Parks and Recreation. In our last meeting on March 14th, all members unanimously supported following this original trail master plan to go across this property.
30 seconds remaining.
My request, as many others, is for the City Council to do whatever it can to assure this trail being complete in a safe and economic way. This trail is funded. Hopefully this can be used going forward by generations to come. I mean, we should be very proud of our trail system. It is phenomenal, but it is not finished. Thank you all.
Thank you. Mandy Moore, followed by Alyssa Lutz.
Hello, Mandy Moore, 5208 North Walker Avenue. I live in the Zachary Taylor neighborhood in Ward 2 for now over a decade, and I first heard about this trail being connected to our neighborhood and thus completing the overall loop. I was ecstatic. Likewise, I was excited and the first person to post in our neighborhood Facebook group whenever I heard about the Kirkpatrick Foundation buying this land and turning it into a nature preserve. I, like many of my neighbors, some who've lived there over 30, 40 plus years, enjoy seeing different wildlife that come through because we live so close to the green belt that has only shrunk over the years. So believe me when I say we care about nature and we care about preserving and living in this growing city. I first got my road bike 7 years ago after watching my brother-in-law race in the Tulsa Tough race in Tulsa, obviously. If you haven't had the pleasure, I highly recommend it. It's an electric atmosphere and a fun weekend of bike races. I came home and bought a bike, and I enjoyed taking it because Tulsa is a very bike-friendly city. I've hauled it down to the river. I've rode around. I'm not an avid bike rider because I'm not comfortable riding on streets, but I've held onto my bike for this long because of this trail. I'm also an avid dog walker, and I enjoy using Phase 4 of the trail that has been connected to my neighborhood. I don't know if you guys have been there. We recently hosted a trash cleanup that hauled off piles and piles and heaps of trash, not to mention many shopping carts. But the way that the trail is left unfinished, you, like they said, have to risk your life running or walking on 50th Street, which is just, it's not an option. This trail, this Deep Fork Trail is not only a bike trail or a walking trail, it's a connector of communities. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. It provides a means of getting around the city that does not involve a car. It promotes a healthy and more connected lifestyle, which is better for the environment. I recognize that there are obstacles, namely funding for Phase 3 and this vote that's coming up. I ask that you please keep the integrity of the original trail in mind and vote to keep the original language that I thought requires the Kirkpatrick Foundation, to work with the city for a solution. If not, I deeply hope that you defer the vote until a viable option can be presented before scrapping the use of the Red Ridge land altogether.
30 seconds remaining.
This land was purchased with the plan and trail already in works. Changing that now will only end up costing more time and money. Again, thank you for your time and service to this community and this great city that I'm so proud to be a part of.
Thank you. Alyssa Lutz, followed by Ben Ilaraza.
Mayor, City Council members, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Alyssa Lutz. I live at 1501 Glenwood Avenue. I'm the founder and director of an after-school program, life-changing program called Bike Club OKC. We have 175 students in our 7th year with 7 schools. And we are changing the fabric and changing the lifestyles of so many students in our community. First, I have a heartfelt thank you for these bike paths and these green lanes that are going in. Our students use the green lanes on Walker, the green lanes on Lottie, and that new Classen green lane is fantastic for all of our students around the greater metro area. You guys, we had 30% of our students this year who had never been on a bike. These are 4th through 7th grade students. We use these trails, we use these green lanes, And the byproduct of this is we are creating outdoor stewardship from students who didn't ever know how to ride a bike, and now they are. This changes the fabric of the communities because each student in our program who completes it gets to take home a brand new bike to keep forever. We also give bikes away to family members. We are seeing families and students on these bike trails and on these paths. Our Nichols Hills Elementary School, our Thelma Parks, and our MLK program would definitely use these trails. Prior to this deep fork, when our Nichols Hills Elementary students traveled downtown, we had to occupy Western Avenue in front of McGinnis. We took this east side little skinny trail, dismounted as we went over I-44, then we got across 4 lanes on Chartel to get to the green lane to get downtown. Now we take that greenway and we just weave in a safe path to our destination. This plan has been delayed, and we are waiting and chomping at the bit to have more safe cycling routes and more outdoor community. This aligns with Vision Zero, getting green lanes that are safer, getting bike paths, and this is already planned. So let's go do it, right? Do it in a timely manner. We don't need to add extra expenses. And I think this is just a win-win. This nature preserve is going to be one of the new destinations that will be on our bike club calendar. We visit, in fact, Councilwoman Hammond, I think we're going to see you soon, and
30
Stone,
seconds
I think we're going to see
remaining.
you soon as well. But we visit libraries, fire stations, police. 95% of our students have never been to an art museum. We visit contemporary art space. We go to Factory Obscura. This is expansion and awareness about our city and how wonderful it is. So I just encourage you to consider the original PUD and get this done in a timely fashion and continue this beautiful trail system. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ben Ilaraza, followed by Aaron McGowan.
Thank you, and good morning. My name is Ben Ilaraza. I live at 809 and 1/2 Northwest 33rd Street, pretty close to this area that's being discussed. I ride my bike for leisure. I ride my bike for exercise, but I'm also a commuter cyclist. I don't drive. I ride my bike to get to where I need to go, whether it's to get groceries, doctor's appointments, anywhere that I need to be in the city, I'm getting there on a bike. After I leave this meeting, I took off till 1. I'm going to be going into the office where I work, that is off of Meridian, down by the river. I will be using the river trail, the South River Trail, to get over there. I'm going to go down, I think we're on Walker, right? I'm going to go down Walker, I'm going to get on the river trail, and I'm going to go west all the way to where I work. I'll probably be using about 14 miles there and back of the river trail today. I think that there's a tendency to see these facilities as almost like exercise equipment, right? Like they're leisure facilities. They're facilities for, walking your dog and going for a walk with your kids, which they're great for that, and I don't want to demean that. I use them for that too. But I use these facilities to get to places where I need to be in this city. And every further delay of segments of this segment is going to hamper people's ability to get to where they need to go in this city in a way that's safe. I'm very hesitant to bring this up here because I realize the gravity of it and I want to be respectful to this person's family. But early last week, somebody on a bike was killed in this city on, I believe, South Penn Avenue. Like I said, I'm hesitant to bring that up, but I want to stress the reality of what it can be like out there sometimes. It can be very scary and it can be very dangerous. And I'm used to it, and I don't like the fact that I'm used to it because I've been in some situations where
30 seconds remaining.
I was in a lot of danger. But that is to stress that these facilities need to be completed with urgency because they are extremely important parts of transportation infrastructure, their health infrastructure, And ultimately, in conjunction with the Red Ridge Nature Center, they're going to be very good for the environment and the quality of living in this city. So I thank you, and I urge you not to delay this project any further than it's already been delayed. Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron McGowan, followed by Josiah Harrell.
Hi, my name is Erin McGowan. I'm from 3329 Greenbrier Terrace in Del City. If I understand correctly, Ward 7 doesn't have a permanent representative on City Council. I think waiting until Ward 7 is permanently represented would best serve this decision. I urge you all to delay the vote till that's in place. I started biking as an adult in 2021. I was really scared at first to navigate roads, and I relied on trails like the one at Deep Fork to gain confidence and ride on more busy roads. I learned how to ride safely and legally on the roads and trails from many cycling interest groups in OKC, particularly Gals, Gays, and Theys. I love how I slowly learned how more trails connect, and my knowledge and appreciation for my neighborhood grew. I worry, though, that a potential delay or redirection from a rezoning could cause the original Deep Fork trail plans, and it could prevent other OKC residents like me who discovered the value of their neighborhood only when given the opportunity to safely navigate OKC on properly interconnected bike trails that are made to move us all without cars. In my time biking with these groups, I had the opportunity to learn just how many people navigate OKC without cars through biking, walking, and running. I thought that was a fantasy, but it doesn't have to be. I warn many friends before they consider moving to Midwest cities that they can be car hells, where residents are damned to navigate it uncomfortably in a car, but they don't have to be. People in OKC deserve the chance to navigate it like other major cities and urban areas and get to their work, family, and friends on trails trails like these are just a wonderful start for that. Please ensure we are served the proper trail that we were promised or should have completed, even if we weren't promised it by the Kirkpatrick Foundation themselves. Please don't delay it further. We are part of the environment too in OKC, and we as a community can benefit alongside a Kirkpatrick Nature Preserve if we reduce the amounts of trips we take without cars, lessening our collective contributions to global warming that lead to extreme weather events. Thank you for your time, and I hope you guys make the right decision.
Thank you. Josiah Harrell.
Hello, Josiah Harrell, 2032 Northwest 47th Street. I don't know exactly how this whole process is, but I travel for work, so whenever I go around and I hear people talk about Oklahoma City and how much it's grown, I'm always excited to contribute to their excitement because anytime I bring people in from out of state, and we always go by Scissortail Park and those other walking trails and other paths that has been developed by MAPS, which I'm sure most of you guys are a part of, and I appreciate, and most people in Oklahoma City appreciate. Whenever any of these trails like this one are on the docket, so to speak, then I feel like it's the community's responsibility to kind of protect them because each and every one of them are just as important, and I appreciate it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. That concludes the residents who signed to speak on this item. Sounded like Councilman Cooper, you have some thoughts teed up, or maybe, yeah, yes.
Just before we have Parks to come, I want to be clear that I don't normally do a lot of talking, but Councilman Stone Cipher, Councilman Stone were here seated when I have served on city council before and been dealing with this particular property when CLO had it, and I have watched all of the developments that have gone on in reference to this particular property. I know that this property is headed in the right direction with the nature preserve that is here. I think what is prudent is for us to find a way for us to mutually be able to have coexistence on this particular property. So, but I want to be clear that I have the authority to make any recommendation or decision as the Ward 7 councilman who is sitting in this seat. And I have that authority. I want to be clear about that. And that's what I want to say before we move into Parks or anyone else coming up to present. So let that be clear.
All right.
Which is why one of the first people I spoke with on Thursday was the Honorable Councilperson from Ward 7. And thank you for your time on that phone call. Really, you gave me some insight I didn't have, and I think we kind of created a way forward here, and we'll get to that. And the reason why I reached out is because this is Ward 2 and Ward 7 where they connect.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I just thought collaboration was the key there.
And it is. Thank you.
No, of course. Again, a tale of two Coopers. Director, would you mind coming up and just giving us a little bit of the backstory here? And feel free, again, because Councilman Cooper, Ward 7, is not just the Ward 2 show, so you come on in. Would you mind explaining what we're dealing with here with the Deep Fork Trail and its history, please, Director?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Melinda McMillan Miller, Director of Parks and Recreation. We're just going to pull up a couple slides here so it kind of helps illustrate it better. I always love talking with a map. I've heard that multiple times from my engineering friends, so I've kidnapped the thought completely. So this is an overall view of the Deep Fork River Trail. It was planned for as part of the 2000 our Better Street, Safer City bond program. It was hired as designed by Half and Associates in 2019. As part of that plan and engineering design, we split it into 5 different development phases. Those phases are going from the right-hand side of your screen to left-hand side, phases 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for a total of 4.3 miles. The orange outline you see in the picture is the current Red Ridge Nature Preserve as owned by the Kirkpatrick Foundation. Next slide, please. So just to break out the phases, this is phase 1 that actually runs from North Kelly Avenue on the east. Kelly Avenue on the west, all the way to Northeast Grand Boulevard on the east. Next slide, please. That portion is completed. This is phase 2, which is the trail section that would span between North Lincoln Boulevard and North Kelly Avenue. This is the section that runs through the Red Ridge Preserve. It is designed but not yet constructed. Go ahead. Phase 3 is the span that goes between North Santa Fe Avenue to Lincoln Boulevard. This phase is also not complete. Phase 4, which stretches from just west of Bishop McGinnis High School at I-44 in North Grand, and then stretches eastbound to Santa Fe Avenue. That portion is complete. And then phase 5, which was a part of an ACOG grant, cooperation with ODOT, stretches from Northwest 63rd Street to I-44 Northwest Grand Boulevard. That is also complete. So as part of the phase 2, again, back to our conversation today, again, the project status right now as it stands, that phase 2 will be completed. I'm going to make that very clear for everybody. Phase 2 will be constructed. We are working very diligently with the Kirkpatrick Foundation to try and find a mutually beneficial solution for both entities. The trail, we're entering into reworking, I should say, with Half and Associates, the original design consultant team, to come back to us in a few months with alternative routes through this section between Kelly and Lincoln so that we can understand what are the options. Once we understand those options, whether that's going all the way to I-44 and working just within the easement right-of-way of the ODOT interstate there along I-44, or is an alternate plan design that we could possibly do that would work with the Kirkpatrick Foundation within the actual preserve. All those options are on the table, and that's what we are currently studying with Half and Associates. We are expected to have those alternate routes presented back to us by Half sometime in early fall. We're hoping around September. And then once at that point, we'll sit down and meet again with Kirkpatrick Foundation, talk those things through, and then work forward from there. I'm sure we'll have some reports to come back to the council at that time. As far as phase 3 and phase 2, if there is a cost differential, of course, phase 3, we're really hoping to get into a future general obligation bond program so that the full trail will be completely finished and constructed. I'll answer some questions.
Councilman, is there anything you would like to add from that? Okay. No. So I just want to make sure I'm hearing this timeline right. Better Street, Safer City funded.
Phases 1 had funding for phases 1, 2, 4 and 5.
And additionally, a grant from ACOG, the
Yes, that
Association
helped
of
us
Central.
complete. Yes, ACOG, or the ODOT helped us complete that section of Phase 5.
Okay. So, council, and because your earlier comment, Mayor, well heard, and that was something I learned on Wednesday in terms of there was no, and please feel free to clarify here, because I think this is an important thing. There was no agreement in the sell from the previous landowner. By the way, I learned all this on Thursday. My entire Thursday afternoon was this a conversation. There was no easement present for the city of OKC when the previous landowner, CLO, which stands for
Commission of Land Office.
Thank you. Sold this property to Kirkpatrick Foundation.
That is correct.
Then, when Kirkpatrick Foundation came to the council, the Planning Commission, to rezone this area, once more, there was no agreement in terms of an easement that we would need to build the trail along the Deep Fork Creek here. Is that also correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so that presents us a problem. For me, there's two problems here, like two giant problems. One is that when voters went to the ballot box back in 2017 to do Better Street, Safer City, the 27-month extension of MAPS 3 sales tax, but then combined with the bond, as we all know, bonds are listed projects. They list out what we're going to do. And in that listed project, it said an alignment along the Deep Fork Creek. So voters went to the ballot box believing when they voted for trails that we were going to build along this creek. Can I just pause on that? Is everyone following me on that? So that's why the public who's here right now is concerned and upset, because as far as they are concerned, there was a listed project. They don't know about the easements. Like that's the two problems here. They don't know about the easements. That's how could they, right? They know that we asked them as the city of OKC to fund this project, and that this project specifically was gonna align along this creek.
Yes.
So in my mind, and you can see how the voters would get there too, especially Mandy had my heart, because I just this week, your description is the one I really want everyone to focus on. No shade to the people who are joggers, bikers, dog walkers, but it's this connectivity piece. It's this connectivity piece. We've built sidewalks on Chartel that now, and bike lanes, that now if you live in Jefferson Park, Central Park, Paseo, Crown Heights, Helm Farm, Edgemere Heights, Edgemere Park, if you live anywhere along Chartel, you now have a walking path and a bike path that will connect you to Mandy's neighborhood. And I just did that last weekend and the weekend before. I think people got to see this. Would you go back to the part ACOG funded?
Yes, that's Phase 5, one slide back.
Thank you. So this right here is the part I biked from 63rd. It will connect you to the trail. Would you go to the part that this connects to? So now someone can get to Whole Foods from your neighborhood. Sorry, Mayor, also Trader Joe's. I know different city. But
Doesn't exist, don't acknowledge it.
But they can get to Whole Foods, they can get to the bank, Mid-First Bank. They can go shopping at Class and Curve. They could go to a job at Sonic. They could go get a slushie at Sonic. They could not do that previously until this trail was complete unless they owned an automobile. This is about accessibility. If you have a wheelchair and you live in Zach Taylor Park, how have you been getting over to these other places? So this is not cutesy fun time for me. This is about accessibility for my most vulnerable residents, right? Would you go to how this connects to the next part?
Just reverse 2 slides. You can just reverse, okay. Maybe one more. Is that the section
Thank you,
you'd
that's
like?
perfect.
Okay.
That was the one.
Yeah, slide 5.
So right here, you can now bike where that green part is. So Mid-First is right up here in that top corner. You can now bike along this creek, as I did, and you can either go down that bottom part where the green is into Zach Taylor neighborhood, into Zach Taylor Park now. Bishop McGinnis High School's right here. Think about all that access for students, for seniors, workers, you name it. But then you can keep going to the east here, right? And I did this Sunday, and you can keep going and cross all over, and then it stops right at those apartments. Once you get to those apartments, where again, more workers, more seniors, more people who, students, it stops right there. And then would you go to the final incomplete parts?
No, the other way.
Thank you. So right here is the first bit of the incomplete, right? We can't, it just stops, right? And then you have that next part that's still under construction. So this is not, when I look at the PUD right now, the PUD stops us dead in our tracks from that connectivity. And in some cases, it's actually dead in your tracks. If a Camry and then a white truck almost hit you, that's 2 vehicles. Okay? So I guess my ask here, and this is where things are going to be tough, I think my ask here is that when this comes back for the public hearing, that we vote to defer this item until, how long will it take Half and Associates? Because I just named the problem we're facing. This is a connectivity issue. This is about getting workers up to the zoo to work from Zach Taylor neighborhood, Tinseltown to work, go there for recreation as well. It connects to the Katy trails to bring you back down here. So this is about jobs. Metro Tech is up there. The BRT is about to be on MLK. You're about to connect people to public transportation right there. This is a big deal. My car was in the shop 2 weeks ago, a transmission issue, $2,000. I don't got $2,000 to just toss around. It's been so stressful. I had to use my bike, which of course I love to do. I'm like Ben, I bike a lot to get to where I need to go. But sometimes it's really difficult to get to some of those places when there's no bike or pedestrian infrastructure. Real hard, right? So this is a serious issue. This is not just some cutesy recreational issue. No offense to my recreation friends. So how long will it take Half and Associates to do their study here?
Their contract, when it comes back to council on April 8th, we'll have from April 9th for 120 days. So roughly about the end of August, early September, when we should receive their report back to us.
And this was part of my conversation with Councilman Cooper, is that when this item comes back up for a vote, in terms of the public hearing, and I would actually like some clarification from our city clerk and our lawyers on this. We can't defer it today, right? Because it's an introduction. Would you all clarify that? Because otherwise I'm gonna have some really mad people out here. Yeah, right? So.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Everybody's looking at me, so I guess I'll answer the question.
Hi, Kenny.
Yes, you can defer it today.
Whoa.
Now, I will say this. You cannot defer this indefinitely. The lawyer for the applicant will go to court and force the council to hear the application.
And then the mayor.
I'm going to give a response. I don't like the precedent that we're starting to set today. We do not need hearings to occur at the introduction of items. This hasn't happened in the 7 years I've been here. If we were to grant a deferral of even an introduction, it's just going to be an incentive for this to happen more and more often. All of these people are going to feel compelled to come back at the hearing, and we're going to do all of this a second time. That's why this is a bad precedent. So I would strongly oppose a deferral of the introduction, but I'm happy to vote for a deferral on April 22nd because I almost always have voted for deferrals on zoning cases within reason, you know, and sometimes they get deferred 3 or 4 times while continuing negotiations occur. But speaking for myself, I don't disagree with what he's saying about the legality of at least one deferral. But I hate the precedent of starting deferrals on introductions, and I would oppose that just for procedural reasons. So there's my take.
I appreciate both of those takes. And then what Councilman and I discussed was that when this comes up for the public hearing in a couple weeks, and you've already heard support from this council, from the mayor at least, I don't know about the rest of y'all, feel free to chime in, but please, Councilman, go ahead, you're gonna say something.
There's absolutely no reason necessarily to be in a hurry with this. I think we've got to find a way to allow these to mutually exist and whatever that looks like going forward. But it has not been the practice to really defer anything in introduction. And so that has been the consistent procedure throughout. And so when I talked to CK and others, I explained that to them and said to them that this is just introduction. And it is also unusual to have all of these people speaking at introduction and not at actual final hearing. So, but we allow that privilege as a council, and so we've done that today. And so I think Mark is going to speak, wants to speak, but after him, I think we just will allow this to move forward with the consent, and then we'll hear it as it comes up in a few weeks.
Does everyone understand what's happening? Okay, go ahead.
Hold on.
Oh, but Councilwoman of Ward 3, Honorable Council.
One moment, please, because this will be the only opportunity I have to speak on this item. So I would like to just go on the record to say that it is my heartfelt hope that the city and the Kirkpatrick Foundation will be able to come to some agreement that, as you've stated, Councilmember Cooper, that we can partner on this effort, that it can coexist in a way that continues, you know, the Ridge Nature Preserve's ideas. The community would love to have that. The city would love to have that. I would personally love to have that. It's an incredible place, you know, within our city central area. But this connection to the Deep Fork Trail is very important for all the reasons that you've already heard. But it is my hope that the Kirkpatrick Foundation will partner with us on this. And I'm looking at you to help make that happen. And now you can go.
Come on up. Look what you've won.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
The only item I was going to speak on was a deferral at the introduction stage. The reason you don't typically see people here at introduction is because your introduction is what then sends notice out for the final hearing. So we need that to occur so the next level of notice can be sent out.
That's great. Can I, while you're here, I just want to, I'm going to be blunt, and I've got to be blunt because you got to name a problem if you're going to get to the heart of what's going on. So first things first, September is when this work, the data-driven evaluation, okay. Would you tell us the reasons why currently we can't just build this? Like, what is the opposition? I'm confused.
Well, I don't believe you have the right to build it because you don't have an easement.
So since we do not have the easement, we do not have the legal right to build it. Secondly, are there any reasons why, knowing that voters in 2017 went to the ballot box and the people who approved trails, a listed project, saw an alignment along this creek, voters, i.e. people here today, but not limited to, believe that this is something that we are going to do. Now, could the city in this moment have done the easement first? Arguably, sure. I don't disagree with that.
With what funding? I mean, that's how all our projects.
Great question. So that was what was holding us up?
We have to cast the vision. The voters approve it. They give us the money to get started. We very rarely have the land in place for projects that we build when we cast the vision.
Thank you for that clarification. So now you have that. So, no, I'm serious. But what is holding us back from right now this collaboration, instead of having to do studies to look at alternatives? You already heard some of the concerns about being closer to I-44 if you move this further north. It's going to cost more money that we would have to go back to voters this year's bond to fund more. I'm just trying to figure out what is wrong with, because I wasn't part of the conversations, what's wrong with just right now completing this trail as is?
So we'll be happy to address all of that at the public hearing. I think generally, we've been working with city staff since we filed the application, specifically the Parks Department, and asked them to explore still in alignment along the Deep Fork. That doesn't change. We've simply asked, can you explore to look at the north side? We have concerns as a nature preserve for the trail being on the southern side of the creek. and we'll happily get into that. There are ecological consultants that are on here. Fences were brought up that we can keep people off the nature or out of the nature preserve. That prevents the wildlife from being able to access the body of water. So we've been working with staff to do that. The PUD is an entirely separate issue. We don't need a PUD to preserve trees, right? We're doing this as a show of good faith to the adjacent neighborhoods who were afraid and concerned of thousands of apartments and hundreds of thousands of square foot of commercial and office development occurring there. That's really why we filed the PUD. So they're two separate issues. Approval of the PUD is not your easement acquisition process. You have a separate process to acquire that easement that you can still go through at any point. We've at this point just asked the city to explore locating it on the north side of the Deep Fork.
And so we'll be doing that exploration. I guess my point about the PUD is right now the PUD does not allow us to do any of the work. And so approving the PUD right now, I'm not talking about today, but in a couple weeks, you know, that's why I think that's why deferral is a question, is that we do need to have time to do that exploration.
Councilman Cooper, I just want to clarify. Are you saying that the PUD under consideration being applied for here, is your belief it somehow prohibits this trail?
Yeah. That's not accurate.
I don't think that's true at all.
We have nothing in the PUD that states the trail can't be there.
You just said, am I wrong? You just said that right now, this trail as planned along the creek, along the river, is something you all don't support? Is that true?
Yes, but that's not written into the PUD. The PUD doesn't say you can't do it. You have an easement acquisition process that you can work through to acquire the easement that you have not done to this point. That's why you can't build it today. There's no language in the PUD that says there shall not be a trail located on the southern portion of the Deep Fork. That process is entirely separate.
There is language right now to you. You just said that you all do not support this trail. I guess we can get into this in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think the decision point on whether this trail is going to be on this site or not is really not covered in the PUD at all. I think I would strongly prefer the trail to be here as it was originally planned, but like, I don't think ultimately when this is voted on that it really changes that equation one way or the other. That's a different conversation as he's referencing. It's a conversation between us and the landowner, and there are processes we could also pursue that would be without their support perhaps. But in no case does the PUD seem to impact the issue in any material way. It had feel-good language in it before. I've been a part of many legal documents that have feel-good language, but you know, they don't really mean anything, and maybe the lack of them has the opposite effect of not making you feel good. And there's a lot of people in the room today who don't feel good, but ultimately there's nothing of legal substance really happening here that impacts the trail. It's really a different conversation. I mean, people can still cast their votes however they like when this comes up on April 22nd and beyond, but I don't think this is actually this PUD itself is actually a decision point that will dictate whether this trail goes there one way or the other.
If this PUD was removed or was withdrawn, the process for which, and this conversation still occurs, as the property owner has still requested, you explore a different trail location. So that process and that conversation is going to occur whether this PUD is approved, denied, withdrawn. They're two very separate
That's a good point.
issues.
Say he walked up here and he said, PUD application withdrawn. We still are no closer to having our trail there despite the language in the current PUD. So that kind of tells you what little substantive difference this PUD makes.
And regardless, today is just an introduction. We're not voting on anything for, against, whatever.
Yeah,
and we're
today's
not
vote
supposed to even be debating this because it's an introduction, not the open hearing.
Yeah, and we probably ought to
move on
so we can introduce
Can I
it
make a
and do
motion?
all this again in 4 weeks. Yeah, this is under the consent docket, so you're absolutely right. I mean, this was extraordinary, but something of a compromise with the many people who showed up today, and we appreciate their engagement. But to everyone else in the city, please don't do this again.
But I'll just say, and I'll try and be as kind about it as I can. Not everybody, and I've said this many times previously, not everybody, Mandy strikes me as a smart person. Not everyone in this city understands city processes. And so I'm grateful they showed up. I didn't ask them to be here. I've not posted about this on social media. People just show up when they're concerned about things happening in their city. No one is teaching, except for me, I guess, in city classrooms, no one's teaching how city government works. And so, of course, they asked for this today. And then secondly, I'll try and be kind about it again, it hurts my feelings, everybody, when someone like Mandy gets up here to speak, or when I explain to you the importance of the connectivity for people in wheelchairs, for people on bikes like Ben, when I get up here, or when they get up here and explain that this infrastructure is a vital part of their lives, and then we just go, can we move on real quick? Can we be done with this? That's upsetting. It makes the people who are advocating for this basic infrastructure that will get them to work or to school or recreation, that makes them feel diminished and small. It makes me feel diminished and small as their elected representative. And you see shaking heads right now. I'm asking this council to, when we're having these sorts of conversations, and you're doing fine, but there's other people, Mayor, this isn't like let's it's not a tell of us, but I'm just saying, y'all, slow down a little bit and engage in these conversations with our people when they're asking us to engage in them. Don't just run real quick past the conversation. That's all I'm saying. But for now, it sounds like we got a way forward. We're going to talk about deferral in a few weeks. I just want to make sure that in a couple weeks, there's not this we can't defer this until we get the research. That's all I'm asking.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for your time. Next item up is item Z. This is a gift acceptance agreement with the Chamber regarding some new public art, and we have a presentation on this.
Yes, Randy Marks with the Planning Department will give us a quick presentation on this artwork that is a donation and is planned for the Bricktown area.
Good morning. I'm Randy Marks, Program Planner in Arts and Cultural Affairs. This work of interactive sculpture is titled Cloud Embrace. It's by Creative Machines, an artist team from Tucson, Arizona, who will create the work and then collaborate with local artist and manager Anton Morton on its permitting and installation. The sculpture is intended to be a fun and dynamic focal point and gathering spot in Bricktown between Reno and the Canal in front of Harkins Theater. I'll just say that this is another attraction that the thousands, tens of thousands of people that will be visiting Oklahoma City in the next few years will be able to identify Oklahoma City with, and they'll want to go here and visit this and take their pictures and then let everybody else know that they're in Oklahoma City. Slide, please. The nighttime rendering shows it to be an immersive environment with color-changing LEDs lighting the night. This is not a 1% for art project like so many of the projects that we bring to you to consider. This one is the result of an American Rescue Plan Act grant awarded to Visit OKC. For many months, Lindsay Vidrine of Visit OKC has worked with us in Arts and Cultural Affairs and also with Melinda and others in the Parks Department to bring an idea of creative placemaking into reality. The idea was helped tremendously when the Inasmuch Foundation matched the ARPA grant and then some, and that enabled this to turn into a really substantial work of art. Slide, please. Today, there are two items for you to consider together: a public art commission agreement with Creative Machines and a gift acceptance agreement. City staff will coordinate and oversee the project, but Visit OKC will write the checks. When the work is completed and installed and the artists are paid, Visit OKC will then donate the sculpture to the city of Oklahoma City, and along with that, they're donating $10,000 to create a repair and refurbishment fund for this work in particular. The city will invest up to $150,000 to prepare the plaza for installation of the work. And next slide. And again, this is this is Cloud Embrace, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mark.
Just quickly, I think there's an amount that is for maintenance as well in this particular, because there's always a concern about what that looks like ongoing in terms of expenses, but there's also a component for maintenance as well. Is that right?
That's exactly right. And so the Arts Commission has recommended anytime works are donated to the city that there be a fund set apart as part of that donation to help maintain, repair, refurbish that work into the future. The maintenance on this particular work is going to be extremely low, but we all know things happen. So $10,000 will be in a fund to address those issues that come up over the next however many years. We don't know.
Fantastic. I'm excited about this. This is certainly something that will benefit our city, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to all the donors who made it possible, and as much especially. Okay, next up, we have item AV, which Councilman Stonecipher referenced, and then we have a couple people who've signed up to speak. How do you want to, what order would you like to handle that, Councilman?
I just kind of want to lay the groundwork of why we're here today. This item was on the agenda for March the 11th, and when I first read it, it says resolution waiving guidelines and provisions for the selection of the professional consultant. So that kind of jumped out at me. We normally don't waive the guidelines and procedures. Second, it was just directed towards C.B. Cameron Soccer Park and South Lakes Soccer Park. So I asked for a deferral to have some time to read the agreement. And once I took a look at the agreement, which was supposedly 15 pages, within the agreement, it incorporated attachments A through F, which led it to be documents probably 100 pages or more. And after reading it, I had 3 concerns. And but before I get into those concerns, I was able to speak with Gabby Noble, and we were also able to speak with Brandon Lawless about the concerns they had about this. And I'd like to hear from Gabby and Brandon first, and then I'll make some more comments if that's okay, Your Honor.
Sounds good. Okay, so we'll hear from Gabby Noble.
Gabby Noble, 129 Deer Creek Road, Edmond. I'm president of the North OKC Soccer Club, and I'm here today to ask the council to deny item 9AV. We as an organization rallied around the 2017 GO bond and MAPS 4. We campaigned to our members past and present and in all the neighborhoods around us. We attended HOA meetings with Councilman Stonecipher and Doug Cupper, the past Parks Director. We went to all of these HOA meetings with a plan in hand that the city approved to be a soccer-specific complex. The surrounding neighborhoods agreed to a soccer park. We are grateful for the opportunity that the MAPS 4 funding is giving to our soccer community, and we also understand the responsibility that comes along with that. I understand that the new park will also bring revenue dollars to this city. We, the soccer clubs, are the ones in the leagues and the organizations that will get us those major events. I understand how important it is, but also for me, it's about our community. It's about the kids that play soccer in Oklahoma City and the soccer that we provide for them on their behalf. To me, it's about continuing to assist the YMCA with all of their soccer programming. It's about having a great partnership with John Marshall and Oklahoma City Public Schools to grow their soccer programs. But soccer's a year-round sport, and we touch this facility every single month of the year. There's not space in the calendar for us to run a successful, top-notch soccer club and the city have other sports at this complex. This is not what the voters of Ward 8 were told or what the Oklahoma City voters voted on. When Mayor Holt told this city to dream big in regard to MAPS 4, we did. When we met with the mayor and many members of the MAPS 4 committee and showed the video, it was about a soccer complex and making it better for our city. This soccer club we are a great partner and asset to this city. With the city, with the Water Trust, and the Oklahoma City Parks Department. As a partner to the Oklahoma City Parks, we have agreed to build 5 additional fields and add it to the current MAPS 4 project that's being done to our facility. We are in the middle of a major fundraising campaign to raise millions of dollars. So you can see why I'm confused by the script being flipped. and why an outside entity from a different state has been brought in to make a decision. The Phase 1 report is riddled with inaccuracies. The report that was sent out does not describe North OKC Soccer Club or South Lakes correctly at all. We are thriving nonprofits that represent the city, state, and region very well.
30 seconds remaining.
We both have major fee waiver and scholarship programs. We want the opportunity to put together a plan to show this council that we can program these parks. We can grow soccer in our city. We've been doing it since 1973. We are the organizations that let the city know this was even a need. We are the organizations that have been fighting for this since 2016 to bring up the soccer standards in our city. And we are the organizations that should be given the opportunity to manage and program these complexes. I ask you to deny item 9AV today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Brandon Lawless.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. My name is Brandon Lawless. I reside at 4517 Southwest 121st Street. I'm the executive director for the South Lake Soccer Club. I've been involved with this nonprofit organization since 2003. I'm here this morning to oppose the resolution for additional funding and a professional services agreement with the Collective Best. We participated in interviews with this group recently, and we've now seen the subsequent report. Based on inaccuracies in this report, I'm concerned about additional tax dollars being spent here. The recommendation in the report is to implement a multi-sport operating management company that would take over total operations of the two soccer facilities in Oklahoma City. The report states that the current soccer clubs only utilize the facility during the week and don't currently facilitate programming on weekends. The report also states our soccer seasons run March through May and August to October. While the report acknowledges the soccer clubs exist, it fails to mention that our facility is operating close to maximum capacity as it is today. Our soccer programming actually runs late January to mid-December. We host a large number of games on any typical weekend throughout the year, and realistically, we only have a few weekends when the facility's not in use. Based on these facts, both a multi-sport operating management company and a soccer club cannot coexist in one facility. It's simply a matter of logistics. While the upgrades to our facility are needed and very much appreciated, we're not adding any additional fields to our current facility. Along with the NOKC Soccer Club, we rallied behind the Maps 4 vote with the understanding that we would receive some upgrades to the soccer complex. We've played a role in the success of soccer in the city, and we're now well known in the region for not only our programming, but also our facility. We've been financially stable, good stewards of the facility for over 20 plus years. We've grown from a very humble few hundred players to a flourishing full-service soccer club, impacting over 2,000 players each year. We host the Early Wine YMCA soccer programming. We host 2 well-known tournament events that bring in large number of out-of-state teams. We host regional league games throughout the year that bring in teams from surrounding states.
30 seconds remaining.
We're very proud to contribute over $60,000 each year to families in financial need. In good faith, our soccer club is willing to continue to invest in repairing a 20-year-old irrigation system to ensure the grass surface is one of the best in the region. We value our relationship with the city and in particular the Parks Department. We're very appreciative of the opportunity to have been the primary tenant at South Lake Soccer Complex for the last 2 decades. We want the opportunity to collaborate with NOKC Soccer Club to bring in local, regional, and national soccer events. We also would love the opportunity to continue to work with the Parks Department to ensure the Maps 4 investment is protected. I would ask that the council vote no on item 9AV. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The one thing I'd say in looking at all this, the entity out of Florida that we're proposing to sign this contract is a company called Collective Best. I would encourage each of you to take a look and see what you can find out about Collective Best. But once I did a dive deep into the contract, the thing that really jumped out at me was they are assigning the work to a company called Legacy Sports Group. I want you to do some research and find out what you can learn about Legacy Sports Group. The third, well, there's two more things. Number one is we are told this is a $72,000 contract. But when you look at the attachments, which are incorporated into the agreement, it's actually a $122,000 contract. So the dollar amount is not correct. That's in the agenda item. Last, there are some provisions in there dealing with termination called termination for convenience that gives me some concern. If I had to vote for it today, I would vote to deny it for these reasons. Number one, it's not what we told the HOAs. Number two, it's not what we told the Cameron Foundation, which donated hundreds of thousands of dollars. The same thing is true with American Fidelity Foundation that donated money, Inasmuch Foundation, the McLaughlin Foundation, and the hundreds of individuals that have donated money for us to finish these fields so we can get to that magic number of 20 so we can play national and regional soccer tournaments, which are now going to Kansas City and now going to Dallas, Texas. We're trying to bring those tournaments here so our kids that can't afford to go to those places can have major soccer tournaments. And to change this at the last minute is problematic to me. The inaccuracies that these two people have come up with in the report, I think all of us should take a look at it. If someone wants to defer this today to take a deeper dive into it, I'm okay with that. But if I'm called upon to vote for this today, I'm voting to deny it.
I do want to address one issue, the question of the cost. The cost of $72,000 is the additional cost for services going forward. There was $49,000, and I can understand how it'd be confusing in the document. There's $49,000 was spent on the first part of the contract, so it's a new $72,000. So the number isn't incorrect on that part of it. So the intent is going forward to be $72,000. It's two phases, two additional phases.
But that's not what it says. If you go into the attachments, which are incorporated into the agreement, there's three different places that say you're going to pay this, and that totals $122,000. And I'm more than happy to sit down with Kenny,
Sure.
and he can tell me I'm wrong, but the way I read it, they're attached
I
into it,
understand.
and we're going to spend $122,000 to have someone tell us that some out-of-state company should run these two parks, and I just think it's wrong.
I think for this, the intent really was just to evaluate this and analyze this. It's not drawing conclusions. It's not making the decision. It's just to be able to analyze this to ensure that we're working as efficiently as we can. South OKC and South OKC Soccer or South Lake Soccer and North OKC Soccer are great partners for us and done a great job here and invested a significant amount. We don't want to undermine that. The intent would be they would still be engaged with this. But again, we wouldn't be making a decision with the consultant services. We wouldn't be making a decision on that now. We would just be analyzing or evaluating the next steps of the feasibility, because these are challenging. It's challenging for both of them. So I'm not trying to undermine that. I would like if we had a little bit more time to visit about this as opposed to just stopping it where we are.
And I agree, but the one thing I will tell you after talking to Gabby is that when she interviewed with Collective Best, our future as being a part of that was in peril by their comments. And I just don't think that's fair. This, as far as Cameron's concerned, this soccer club was formed in the 70s, and they built this themselves. And to have it taken away and run by some company from New Jersey or Florida just isn't fair. It just isn't fair to me. Thank you.
So, if I can, I wasn't here on March 11th. Didn't get the deep dive, and I'm not even sure what the original contract agreement or was done. So if it's all right, I would like to move for deferral just for the simple fact that I'd like to review these a little bit further, the contracts and the things that are going on, if that's okay. And I'm not wanting to step on your toes, Councilman, but if it's all right, I'd like to move for deferral.
I'm not opposed to it at all.
Okay. This report that's being referenced, this initial report, is that something that's already been provided to us? Did we do like an acceptance of a report? I don't know what they're referencing.
We haven't brought the report forward to the council.
I haven't seen it.
No, we have the report. It was provided to staff.
Okay, is that something that in the next 2 weeks,
absolutely.
if we are able to defer, we can look at as well? Thank you.
Would it be possible to defer for 30 days? Sure. Thank you.
Would it also be possible, because I'm reading the memo here, and would it just be possible that this report you all are referencing, could there be, God help me for asking this, but like council briefings to walk us through like what it is that you all are, like what we're asking and then what the report is saying, because I just don't know what I don't know.
I think that's a good idea. I think that's a real good idea.
Additional information on that, we're glad to set up meetings and brief you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion then to defer item 9AV to April 22nd. Got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Okay, that item is deferred. All right, that concludes the items on the consent docket that we had pulled out or had anyone to sign up to speak, so we can now adopt the remainder of the docket with one vote. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item 10, the concurrence docket. We can take items A through F with one motion. Motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. All right, 11 is items for individual consideration. Item 11A was already deferred, which brings us to item 11B. This is an ordinance on final hearing. It was recommended for approval, closing a portion of north-south utility easement west of North Morgan Road near Memorial. Councilman Carter.
Thank you, Amy. Appreciate that. Do we have anyone signed up to speak?
No.
I will move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Okay, item C is an ordinance on final hearing. It was recommended for approval, closing a portion of a 20-foot storm drainage easement east of Rockwell, south of Melrose. Councilwoman Peck, no one has time to speak.
I'll move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Okay, items D and E are related to each other. Item D is an award purchase of the $160 million City of OKC GO bonds, Series 2025. And then item E is a related ordinance. And the process unfolded while we were in here over the last hour or two. And I believe we have a report on that.
Brent Bryan, Assistant City Manager and Chief Financial Officer, will give us an update on this general obligation bond sale, which I believe, Brent, is the largest in the history of the city. Largest single sale.
The largest single sale, and after the completion of today, we'll only have $66 million left to sell from our 2017 authorization. We were fortunate enough today to receive 7 bids at 8:30 this morning for the purchase of $160 million in general obligation bonds. The lowest bid received from Goldman Sachs and Company, who bid a true interest cost of 3.936274. Kind of makes you think of Pi Day, you know, people want to go.
Say that again.
3.936274. Staff recommends the $160 million general obligation bond series 2025 be sold to Goldman Sachs, again, with a true interest rate of 3.936274. In comparison, last year, our true interest cost was 3.44%. So rates have gone up as a result of many things in the economy. So we'd like to do that on item D, and then on item E, the ordinance, we'd also like to approve that with emergency, again, awarding it to Goldman Sachs.
And I think just additionally that Standard & Poor's and Moody's, I think we've shared with you, has reaffirmed our AAA bond rating, which is really such a testament to the leadership of the council, to Brent's leadership and his team, and really all the departments and the work that they do to manage well in our city and to keep us in a good position financially. So I really appreciate the leadership and the work and this council support for us to be in a position to have such a strong rating.
And if I could, I would like to recognize our bond counsel, John Michael Williams and Jared Davidson are here. along with our debt manager, Mike Baskin, and Nagesh Chopra, and our friends from PFM, Dennis Whaley. Thank you.
I'm curious, Brent, what was the next lowest?
I can get that for you. Look, okay, it's in. It's right here. The next lowest, okay, the lowest was 3.93. The next lowest was 3.95. The lowest one, or the highest one, was 4.00. So we're talking 7 basis points between the high and the low. We can get more details, but we'll stick with 7 basis points today.
All right. Well, there's no further comment. Then we can proceed with item D, which is the award purchase. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Now, item E, the ordinance. And I'll go ahead and foreshadow that I think staff wants an emergency on this. But for now, just passage. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. And now, if the council is so inclined, the staff requests an emergency on this. We have a motion and a second for the emergency. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously and with the requisite supermajority. All right, thank you all for your hard work. Item F is a public hearing regarding the dilapidated structures here listed. Amy, has anyone signed up to speak?
No, they haven't.
They have not, so we'll proceed to the resolution at F2 declaring that the structures are dilapidated. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item G is a public hearing regarding unsecured structures here listed, except for those previously struck. Amy, has anyone signed up to speak?
No, they haven't.
They have not, so we'll proceed to the resolution found at G2 declaring the structures are unsecured. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item H is a public hearing regarding the abandoned structures here listed, except for those previously struck. Amy, has anyone signed up to speak?
No, they haven't.
They have not, so we'll proceed to the resolution found at H2 declaring the buildings are abandoned. Got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item 11I1 is a resolution authorizing the municipal council to confess judgment without admitting liability in the case of Ford v. City of OKC. Staff has not requested executive session. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. We're done with votes for the day. Well, no, we're not. Sorry. Got too excited. 11J is an executive session on advice of municipal council to receive confidential communications regarding Moser, et cetera, v. City of OKC. We do need a vote to go into executive session. Motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. We'll handle that at the end of our other business. 11K is an executive session on advice of the municipal councilor to receive confidential communications regarding Simmons v. City of OKC, et cetera. Got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. We'll handle that at the end of our other business. And now we truly are done with voting for the day. Item 12, comments from council. Ward 1.
None today, sir.
Ward 2. Ward 3. Ward 4. Ward 5. Ward 6. Ward 7. No. Don't you dare. Ward 8. Yes. All right. Citizens to be heard. Item 13, Ronnie Kirk.
My name is Ronnie Kirk. My address is 2328 North Missouri. 2 weeks ago, I gave y'all some documents showing I had 25 skills. 2 years or 2.5 years ago, the government gave out grants Arkansas revamped their mathematics throughout all the schools in Arkansas. Today, they are #1 in mathematics, teaching the kids. President Trump gave out the same grants 2 weeks ago to all the states to revamp their educational systems. I got all my trades from Douglas High School back in the 70s and the 80s. That's why I have so many. Most of our kids today have no schools. President Trump has given y'all a blank check to revamp your school system. He said it himself over the air, national television. He's giving it back to the states. So y'all need to teach these kids, go back to the schools and teach them trades. Nature makes it where you have to. All your tornadoes, tearing down houses, your floods, your fires. These houses have to be rebuilt. You don't have enough kids to do them. And he also, if he gave every state one large company to build anything, you know it takes 2 years just to build it? Another year there, and any company that come over here, China, anywhere else that rebuild in the United States, they're gonna bring their own engineers, their own supervisors, because the kids don't know how to do nothing. Somebody's gonna have to teach them.
30 seconds remaining.
So y'all get together. Mr. Cooper, I like the way you explain stuff. You'll explain it 3 ways, you'll tackle it 3 ways to come to the main decision. So y'all get together, take the opportunity with this blank check Donald Trump has given us and teach these kids some skills. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes Citizens to be Heard. We'll now go handle those executive sessions and return. We have returned from executive session, and we are at item 14, adjournment, and we are adjourned.